to President Trump's trade war on China, Chinese manufacturers are now trying to sell high-end luxury goods like handbags directly to Americans on TikTok. Fox 11's Gina Silva is live in Beverly Hills with that part of the story. Gina.
Laura, I don't know if you've seen the videos, but they are wild. And I got to tell you, many American consumers are loving it because why not? Who doesn't love a good deal, right?
Some say as long as there's a tag saying made in China, the bag can never be luxury. However, in fact, more than 80% of the luxury bags in the world are made in China.
Want to know who's the Chinese factory behind Nike, Adidas, Fila, and UGG?
All over TikTok, Chinese influencers are taking viewers behind the scenes, exposing what they claim is a real origin of high-end luxury goods. The viral videos are shaking up traditional luxury branding and destroying consumer trust, revealing that many designer products are actually manufactured in Chinese factories, with only the labels stitched on somewhere else. All of these videos suddenly started showing up all over social media after President Trump announced high tariffs on China. While many American consumers are seeing this as a huge score on designer goods, Professor Christopher Tang of UCLA's Anderson School of Management says the videos may not be as honest as they seem.
It could be counterfeit or imitated products as well. So in that case, there's no consumer protection. These are not the authorized luxury brand channel. So in that case, the buyers, you have to beware of the risk.
This is my fake Louis bag. I take it everywhere I go. I love it. Years ago I had the opportunity to actually go to Beijing, and that is when I found out exactly what the game was. I went to factories where they had nothing but floors of Louis Vuitton, Gucci, Chanel, Nike, Adidas, Apple products. And that's where I learned directly from the vendors that, hey, this is the same thing. You're just paying for a label and repackaging in the U.S.
Now, if you order directly from a Chinese factory, you don't have to pay a tariff, and that only applies to commercial imports. So that is a huge draw, Laura.
Did you by any chance get to see any of this merchandise?
No, these are just videos, right? The only merchandise I saw was the purse from Jasmine, which looks really beautiful. And she said she spent a couple of $100s, and that, of course, retails for thousands of dollars.
Yep. Ever get the feeling you've been cheated? Yes. We are back here on WLTH 1370M. That's 92.7 in the FM dial. It is 6:47 in the PM here, Friday, April the 18th, 2025. The future is here. The future is now. Yes, it is. Folks, as you heard in the video, Chinese TikTok is going ham. They are going ham on American retailers since in the wake of these tariffs. TikTok users in America are being flooded with these videos from these Chinese TikTok influencers that are actually literally encouraging American buyers to circumvent the Trump tariffs by buying directly from the world factory, which is China. Yeah, a lot of these videos have been filmed at Chinese factories that claim to supply the top U.S. brands from Lululemon, Athletica to Nike. The influencers are aiming to expose how the vast majority of consumer goods are made in the world's second largest economy. A lot of them provide the website URLs and contact details for viewers and order directly from the suppliers. They say, why don't you just contact us and buy directly from us? You won't believe the prices that we give you, said one of the creators. In another video, the TikTok creator Luna Sourcing China stands outside of a factory she says makes Lululemon yoga leggings for $5, even though they retail in America for more than $100. Good God.
Money, money, money.
Yes, money, money, money. That is a markup, astronomical markup. she says the material and craftsmanship are basically the same. Now, for their part, Lululemon, through a spokesperson, said that the company only manufactures 3% of its finished goods in mainland China, and that authentic products are only available for purchase at Lululemon stores, official websites, and authorized partners, which is exactly what they would say. It's not like they say, yeah, you got us. You got us. Some of these most popular videos, many uploaded just in this past month, have been amplified by a video titled China Exposed the Truth, with 8.3 million views and 492,000 likes as of Monday. The one that reveals the Chinese supplier to Lululemon garnered 2.6 million views and 215,000 likes, while a How We Bypass Tariffs clip had close to 1 million views and 100,000 likes. It is unclear how ordering directly from Chinese suppliers would allow customers to sidestep the tariffs. The duty waivers for small parcels that are sent to Americans' homes is also being scrapped from May the 2nd. The videos are aimed at undermining the White House narrative that the economic measures are in Americans' interests. Now, for posterity's sake, we have to say that the levy on Chinese exports is now 145%. Good God. Yes, 145%. While Trump has paused additional tariffs on other countries for 90 days. The flood of these posts also reflects the increased effectiveness of Chinese creators at reaching into the daily lives of ordinary Americans. This is why they wanted to ban TikTok so bad. That, and of course, all the exposing of Israel during the genocide in Gaza. TikTok and social media in general has allowed younger Americans, has sort of taken a lid off of the American empire in so many ways. Like, just last year, there was a TikTok trend where a lot of people read Osama bin Laden's letter to America that he wrote after 9/11. And these young people in their 20s, and I guess someone would be in their 30s, were finding out, holy crap, Osama bin Laden was right about a lot of stuff. He's right about Israel. He's right about the American empire. Osama bin Laden is not who we were told that he was in a lot of ways. Not say he was a saint, I'm just saying he was great or anything, but I'm just saying. And so, yes, this is why Trump and the Democrats and all these people, liberal and conservative, wanted to get rid of TikTok last year. And they were trying to get rid of it. Because it has the ability to influence what information millions of Amerians see. And it's one of the main reasons that the U.S. government tried to force their owner, ByteDance, to sell the company. You know, but just to show you how, you know, the toothpaste is out of the tube. Now young people are going to Chinese social media apps like Xiaohongshu or RedNote, and they are actually talking to Chinese people directly. And that's always been a very dangerous thing for the American government, because again, it's a lot harder to propagandize people who can talk to people in China or Russia or whatever country America is trying to vilify at any given time directly. Some videos have actually called on the American citizens to take action against their government. It said, one said, for decades, your government and oligarchs have shipped your jobs to China. Correct. Not for diplomacy, not for peace, but to exploit cheap labor, and in the process, they hollowed out your middle class. Correct again. They crashed your working class and told you to be proud while they sold out your country. So, yeah. So they're telling the American public the truth. Many European high-end luxury brands are also featured, but the makers of the video don't explain why they are featuring European brands in their pushback against the United States. Another key question raised by the video is whether the factories have non-disclosure agreements with their international clients and how the videos will potentially affect long-standing business relationships between brands and their manufacturers. Cameron Johnson, who is a senior partner at the Shanghai-based consultancy Tidal Wave Solutions, who recently visited the Chinese trading hub of Yiwu, sees it as a fundamental shift in the purchasing practices for China. He said, in the past, you might use a middleman or a trading company to source your products for your deal with quality control, or go visit the factory, establish those relationships, and then maybe, just maybe, you would come on occasion. He's saying, but now what we're seeing is just a complete democratization of sourcing products. And one of the users said, after watching the video, Americans, you don't need a tariff. You need a revolution. Don't I know it? Don't I know it? I don't talk about this very often, but I always mean to. Some years ago, way before I started here at WLTH, I used to be a Nike, hell, I just used to be a brand fanatic. Like, from the time I was a kid up until, for 20 years, I wouldn't wear anything but Nikes. Nothing but Nikes could touch my feet. Nothing. When I first started working, all those crappy jobs that I tell you guys about all the time, when I was in 18, 19, 20, 21 years old, I might spend a whole check on a pair of Nikes. I didn't work like a dog scrubbing tires at the car wash for $5 an hour just so I could go buy some Nikes for $150, $200, whatever. And then, luckily for me, Occupy Wall Street happened. Occupy Wall Street happened. That was, I think, 2009, 2010. And so at that point, that was the first time I really started to gain some consciousness about how these shoes and how these products that I used to spend all my money on get made, and how they exploit workers in China, in Vietnam, in some of these places to make these products. And so at this point, I was like, man, forget this. I ain't doing this no more. So I had a closet full of all branded jerseys, Reebok, Adidas, Nike. I had Tommy Hilfiger sweaters and hoodies and stuff. Like, the first thing I said, I'm done. I'm not wearing any of that crap again. Like, I'm done with it. I'm done with Tommy Hilfiger. I'm done with Nike. I'm done with all these designer brands. I'm not going to spend all my money on it. The only thing I had in my closet at that point that was not branded in some way was a black t-shirt. That was it. And ever since, that is pretty much what I wear every day. I wear a black t-shirt. I do not spend my money on designer clothes anymore. Period. Like, keep it 100. And I definitely ain't buying $200 Nikes anymore. That is not happening. For a long time, I wore these New Balances that were like the last pair of shoes that were made here in America. I tried to find some more shoes that were made here in America, but I couldn't find any gym shoes that were made in America anymore. But I certainly ain't about to spend $200, $150 on a pair of Nikes anymore. And the thing that's just so tragic about all this, I was just thinking about this watching these videos, is that young black kids all over Chicago, hell, even some here in Gary, in this region, have lost their lives over Air Jordans, have lost their lives over Charles Barkley or some Kobe Bryants or some LeBron James shoes, lost their lives over starter jackets. That cost $5, maybe $10 to make. That is crazy. That is absolutely crazy. Wow, man, that really put me on my back when I first heard about that. But I am so glad that all those years ago that I decided that I was not going to spend my money chasing the Joneses and trying to stay up on top of all the latest fashion trends anymore. I am so glad I gave that up. And if you know any young people who are super deep into fashion and all those brands and stuff, make sure you show them some of those videos. They're all over social media. There's probably made their way to Facebook by now, from the Chinese factories, where they show you exactly how those shoes are made, how those clothes are made. You heard the woman in the video. I know you couldn't see her, but she was a black woman who was saying, "Look, I went to China. I went to China. I went to Shanghai. I saw how I went to the factory, and I said, oh crap, I spent all my money on these designer bags. Forget that. Let me get a fake Louis Vuitton bag, which is the same thing that they making in this warehouse right here." And she spent a few $100s on a bag that would have cost her $10,000 if she had gotten it from Louis Vuitton themselves. It's not Louis Vuitton because it's something that they doing that's special. It's Louis Vuitton because they've convinced you that it's Louis Vuitton. Let me get this caller. Hello, caller. What's up?
Well, Scotty.
It's all good.
Hey, you know what, man? Hey, you ever own a pair of dress shoes?
Yeah. I own some.
Okay, do you got any Paul Stewart?
Who?
Paul Stewart.
Oh, no.
All right, $500, $700 shoes, right? They make them are Italian shoes. They make them there and they make them in England, all right?
Yeah.
Everybody knows that them shoes, man, was made over there in China and they pennies on $1. They made in Vietnam. Everybody know that. Then you could bring them back over here. My son got a collection of shoes, man, probably about 10 racks, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody know that, man, that you go over there. Everybody know the difference between a Louis Vuitton, okay, that comes from, Paris or Italy, then a Louis, instead of, what I'm talking about, a Louis Vuitton, okay? We know that, all right? Okay. People know that, all right? But, those influences that you said it comes out of China, that ain't nothing but a lot of propaganda. They're going to get over like a fat rat selling all that counterfeit stuff that's really stopped their customs. See, they stopped at their customs, but now we ain't got no customs, so they can just send it straight to the consumer. You'll be a sucker if you buy that stuff, okay?
I don't buy any of it. That's my point.
But you were buying the gym shoes, am I correct?
Well, that's what No, I used to buy the Nikes.
Those Nikes, people were going to the flea market. Them ain't the real Nikes out there.
No, I used to go to Foot Locker to buy my Nikes. I used to go. That's why I said I used to spend my whole check on legitimate Nikes from Foot Locker.
You know how many pair of gym shoes that my kids done bought me, and I don't even wear them. They cost hundreds of dollars. Some of them cost $300. I got them still in the box. I don't
To
even
waste the
want
money.
Listen, yeah, well, I'm going to tell you what. If you can wear a size 13, you're welcome to them. You see what I'm saying? But you got to come with a little change, though. I just ain't going to come to you. But
I don't wear designer shoes. I don't wear name brand shoes like that if I can help it.
Well, you know, I'm going to wear Paul Stewart's because my feet, you know, I'm going to always treat my feet. You see what I'm saying? Healthy feet, you know, healthy man, healthy woman. You got to have, you know, good shoes on your feet. Tell me this, man. You know, I had a crappy Rolex watch, you know, that wasn't real. You see, I got thugged in the head for, you know, a counterfeit Rolex watch. You know, real Rolex watches come from Switzerland. See, we know the difference between counterfeit. You see what I'm saying? It's like you know the difference between silk and satin. See what I'm saying? Okay. We know this. You know, you laying some
say
silk,
that.
you laying some satin.
Most people do not. Most people do not.
Well, you know what? If you don't know the difference in them, then you don't really need it. You see what I'm saying?
Nobody needs it. That's the point.
You say nobody don't need it.
No. Nobody needs to go broke trying to keep up with the Joneses and go for these materialistic things. Like, I'm sorry, I don't see that.
Wait a minute, hold on, partner. Ain't nobody telling you to spend your money going broke. Ain't nobody gonna go broke wearing no Paul Stewart's or Rolex watches that they could afford. See, now that's where you make your big
people getting killed for those.
No, people getting killed for. People get killed for what? People get killed for going to the gas station late at night for nothing. You see what I'm saying? So don't go talking about people getting killed for Rolex watches.
People, you're comparing people literally putting a target, a bullseye on their back, walking around in like I said, clothes that cost $5-10 to make, for for things that get sold for $300-400. We're going to the gas station.
Listen, you keep getting counterfeit stuff mixed up. You see what I'm saying?
I'm not talking about Nike got in trouble for years for using sweatshop labor. Remember? This was a huge thing. This was a huge news story for years. We know Nike uses Chinese labor. We know they use Vietnamese labor. We know that already. That they've had to make mea culpas for that. They've been sued for that. So we know that they do that.
The Chinese use other labor from other places that's not Chinese. I mean, they lock them down. You see what I'm saying? Apple watches are made over there. Apple phones made over there. Everybody got one. I don't have an Apple phone, because I had one. But, see, stuff like this. See, this is what happened. You have to stay out of other people's pocket. You see what I'm saying? Once you stay out of other people's pocket and watch your pocket.
I'm not in anybody else's pocket. It's my job to alert people to what's going on, and I'm alerting people to what's going on.
We all know that, though.
No, they don't. A lot of people don't know that. A lot of people don't know that because our media that's owned by a few conglomerates and few corporations make sure that the average person is ignorant. Most people are ignorant.
No, they don't.
Yes, they do.
Ignorant. If you don't open up a book, if you don't do your own research like you do, everybody do research. See, man, this is what's wrong. People try to see. Look, you're not no Spanguli that can read people's minds, man. You know that woman, she got in trouble with doing that. Reading people's minds because you can't do that. You see what I'm saying? So you don't know other people's minds. Everybody in Gary is not a mark. It's some smart people here. You see what I'm saying? I got on the bus one time. Before I got home, I had won $700 playing 3-card Molly. You see what I'm saying? Okay. You know why? Because everybody that was playing 3-card Molly with me was a mark. You understand?
So there are marks here.
You see what I'm saying? So you can't do that, man.
So there are marks here.
You say what now?
So there are marks here. You just said you won $700 because there's marks here.
No, I won $700. You know why? They won the mark. They thought I was a mark. You see what I'm saying? They thought they were smarter than me, so we all was playing the game smart as. You see what I'm saying? See, man, you're a young guy like in your early 40s, man. See what I'm saying? Don't take claim to fame or knowing something. Everybody open up a book and everybody could go to Google. You see what I'm saying?
You say that, but I agree with you I agree with you to that extent. People absolutely do need to open up a book and educate themselves. I just don't think everybody is prone to do that. But thank you for your call, brother. It's 7:09, and I got to go to a break. Sorry, caller. I got to go. We'll be right back after these.